Blame and responsibility. John Burroughs said, "A man can fail many times, but he isn't a failure until he begins to blame somebody else." If you want to measure where you are, if you want to know whether you're on the success curve or the failure curve, or if you want to assess anyone else and determine which curve they're on, here's how. There is one attitude, one state of mind, which overwhelmingly predominates either side of the curve. The predominant state of mind displayed by those people on the failure curve is blame. The predominant state of mind displayed by those on the success curve is responsibility. People on the success curve live a life of responsibility. They take full responsibility for who they are, where they are, and everything that happens to them. Taking responsibility liberates you. In fact, it is perhaps the single most liberating thing there is. Even when it hurts, even when it doesn't seem fair. When you don't take responsibility, when you blame others, circumstances, fate, or chance, you give away your power. When you take and retain full responsibility, even when others are wrong or the situation is genuinely unfair, you keep your life's reins in your own hands. Negative and difficult things happen to all of us. Most of them are mostly or completely out of our control. It's how we react, how we view those circumstances and conditions that makes the difference between success and failure. And that is completely within our control. The 5%ers who dwell on the upper curve know there are no excuses. They understand and accept the fact that nobody can do it to them, and nobody can do it for them. They are aware of the slight edge, and they understand how it operates in their lives. People on the failure curve are masters of blame. They blame everyone and everything. The economy, the government, the oil crisis, the weather, their neighbors, the rich, the poor, the young, the old, their kids, their parents, their boss, their coworkers, their employees, life itself. The inhabitants of the lower curve are life's victims, the great mass of done-tos. I know a man whose self-declared philosophy was, "Life is an unpleasant practical joke which occurs somewhere between birth and death." On which side of the curve do you think he was living? Where was he headed? Can you imagine what results that thought, "Life is an unpleasant practical joke," would create when magnified by the water hyacinth-like force of time? You know the expression, "Be careful what you wish for, you just might get it." It's not even a question of what you wish for. Be careful what you think, because what you think, multiplied by actions plus time, will create what you get. Responsibility is declaring oneself as cause in the matter. It is a context from which to live one's life. Responsibility is not a burden, fault, praise, blame, credit, shame, or guilt. All these include judgments and evaluations of good and bad, right and wrong, or better and worse. They are not responsibility. Responsibility starts with the willingness to deal with a situation from and with the point of view, whether at the moment realized or not, that you are the source of what you are, what you do, and what you have. Werner Erhard said, "It is not right or even true to declare oneself as cause in the matter. It's just empowering. By standing for yourself as cause, what happens shifts from happening to you to just happening, and ultimately to happening as a result of your being the cause in the matter." The people on the upper half of the slight edge curve are the cause of what happens in their lives. They view all the forces that brought them to this point, God, parents, teachers, childhood, circumstances, you name it, with gratitude and appreciation and without blame. And they view what comes next as their call. Are you your own cause? Successful people do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. They take full responsibility for how the slight edge is working in their lives. Unsuccessful people blame the slight edge for their lives not working. Successful people know they cannot afford that luxury. People on the failure curve tend to focus on their past, and it pulls them down. People on the success curve focus on their future, and it pulls them up. People on the success curve don't ignore the past, but they use it as a tool, one of many, with which they build their futures. People who live on the failure curve use the past as a weapon, with which they bludgeon themselves and the people around them, regrets, recriminations, remorse, and retribution. People on the success curve never hold a grudge, not because it's morally wrong, although they may agree with that reason too, but because it gets in the way. It slows them down. They're too busy moving toward the future to be staring into the rearview mirror. One of the quickest and most direct routes to getting yourself up and onto the success curve is to get out of the past. Review the past, but only for the purpose of making a better plan. Review it, understand it, and take responsibility for the errors you've made, and use it as a tool to do differently in the future. And don't spend a great deal of time doing even that. The future is a far better tool than the past. The future is your most powerful tool and your best friend. Devote some serious, focused time and effort into designing a crystal clear picture of where you're going. In the second part of this book, we'll take a look at specific ways to help you do exactly that. For now, I'll just say this. When you do have a clear picture of the future and consciously put time every day into letting yourself be drawn forward by that future, it will pull you through whatever friction and static you encounter in the present, and whatever tugging and clutching you may feel from the past. One last thing about past and future, and I've saved the best for last. You can't change the past. You can change the future. Would you rather be influenced by something you can't change or something you can?